are adults.
So what are the rights of women and examples of women's rights?
Thank you very much. All the rights applicable to men are also applicable to women because there is no discrimination allowed. For instance, we are in Nigeria and we have our grand norm, which is the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. And for instance, in section 42 of that constitution of our noble law, it prohibits discrimination against anyone on the basis of being a member of any community or circumstances of the person's birth or on the basis of sex. So there should be no discrimination against anyone for any reason whatsoever. And all the rights provided for in chapter 4, that's the fundamental rights, they are also applicable to women. Right to life, right to dignity of human person, right to personal liberty, freedom from discrimination, fair hearing, etc. Right to acquire and own immovable property, right to freedom of thoughts, conscience, and religion. So all these rights too, they are all applicable to women. And even if we are to go international about it, we have the Universal Declaration of Human Rights too. And by virtue of Article 1, all human beings are born free. And it frowns at discrimination on anyone because everyone is born free and we are all equal in dignity and rights. And this is also confirmed too by other international enactments, provisions like African Charter of Human and People's Rights. So it is not only within Nigeria now, even outside the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because this is an issue of international significance. So women cannot just be jettisoned or treated anyhow. They are important, significant, very, very special sets of people. Very, very special people. So it goes beyond their state, it goes beyond their country, and it affects the whole world, the whole globe at large. So the rights of women, the rights applicable to men are applicable to women. So there is no justification for any discrimination whatsoever against anyone on the basis of the circumstances of his birth or because the person is a woman. Thank you.
But in practice, oftentimes we notice that these rights of women, they are not actually protected as the rights of men. Taking a look at it, okay, let me take an example now. Like when you say women's right to own properties, in this part of the world, you notice that culturally, they will say women are not permitted to even have right to own properties, putting in question our culture, our cultural belief. You understand? So when you now say the rights are protected, we notice that in court, these rights now are not often protected as we have the rights of men. Why is that?
Well, that is part of the beauty of this program for enlightenment, to let our people know that any practice anywhere saying that a woman cannot have property is wrong. It should be abolished. So we will never support that. And our dear states will never support that by virtue of the good works in government parastatals, government agencies and parastatals. So if there is any practice anywhere, these are negative, these are evil, very bad cultural practices. Women are working, they are very hard working.
Yeah.
So a woman should be allowed to have properties, to acquire and own properties. A woman can own a landed property, a woman can own a car, a woman can buy whatever she wants to buy with her hard-earned money. So these practices are wrong, saying that a woman cannot have property. So, and they are condemnable. So if there is any practice somewhere saying that a woman cannot have property, so such a woman can seek redress. If there are other infringements on the rights of any woman, she is free to seek redress. If there is any discrimination against her, if there is any problem whatsoever. For instance, Section 46 subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended clearly provides that anyone who alleges that any of these rights is being or is likely going to be infringed upon can seek redress in courts. So even if the woman observes a tendency that, or a likelihood that the rights that her rights will be infringed upon, she's free. She's very much free to seek redress in court. She's free. So freedom of women is not a joke. It's a very, very serious matter of international significance. So see these practices should be abolished in this 21st century. So these are practices that are repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience. So, and like I said earlier, that's part of the beauty of this program, for people to really know their rights, to be aware, so that those who are not informed will be informed. Information, they say, is power. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So how do you give women rights? You know, some of these rights we are talking about. How do you actually empower them? How do you give them these rights? Especially taking into consideration our dear state here.
Thank you. Number one, the information. Information is power. Information is key. It's vital. Watching this type of program and listening to other programs, so it will let them know that, oh, fine, so as a woman you have this right, you have that right. So now apart from this information, if the woman discovers that her right has been infringed upon, she can make use of government agencies and parastatals, the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Women Affairs, and other organizations fighting for the rights of women. She is free to lodge her complaint, and she is free to institute an action in court against anyone or any group of people or organizations that infringe on her rights. So all cultural practices, even apart from some of these cultural practices, maybe domestic violence, for instance, now battery of women, beating them, assaulting them, molesting them, and things like that, any violence whatsoever, whether psychological, whether verbal, emotional, things like that, the woman is free to lodge her complaint. She can also inform law enforcement agencies so that they will be able to champion her cause for the sake of justice without putting laws in her hands.
Yes. So let's take, for example, now a woman that is married, legally married to a man, and the man has a carnal knowledge forcefully of that woman. Some men will claim that because he's legally married to that man, he has every right whatsoever to do whatever, to that particular woman. So in that situation, is the right of that woman being infringed on at that moment, put into consideration that they are legally married together?
Well, ordinarily, it is part of the conjugal benefits. Okay. Consummation. When a man and woman, when they are lawfully married, the consummation of the marriage is expected. Now, it is part of the rights too of the man and even the woman to enjoy their marriage. Nobody is against that. But then there can be some things that are wrong despite that they are lawfully married. For instance, somebody wants to have conjugal rights, enjoy conjugal rights, have carnal knowledge of his wife. It should not be forceful. It should not be forceful. At least the emotional status of the woman should be considered too. For instance, somebody who worked somewhere now and she's very tired. Is it that the carnal knowledge should lead to loss of life or whatever? No. So the enjoyment of the woman too should be well considered. It is, this carnal knowledge or no carnal knowledge should be enjoyed by the two of them, by the man, by the woman,
but in a
by
case
the husband, by the wife.
Forceful, can that woman seek for a redress as such?
Ordinarily, people will not want to do that because of some of these cultural practices we are condemning, we are going against. But a woman can lodge a complaint. For instance, there may be carnal knowledge in an unnatural way that can even be injurious to the health of the woman. So, because ordinarily, if someone should hear carnal knowledge, he may say, after all, that's his wife now, that's his wife now, that's the husband now. Some people, we hear of people, all sort of evil practices in an unnatural way, or maybe against the health condition of the woman, all sort of things like that. Women should be respected. So the discrimination too goes beyond maybe place of work alone, even at home.
And
So
so
there
should
should
come to the issue of place of work now.
no problem.
Especially victimization. Okay, maybe after. Just make
So
it
now
clear.
here in a situation like this, agreed, I'm not saying a man should not have carnal knowledge of his wife. After all, without carnal knowledge there will be no children, so there will be no procreation. So even the Bible says be fruitful and multiply and subdue the earth in the book of Genesis. So I'm not saying there should be no carnal knowledge, but it should be with mutual understanding, it should be with mutual respect, it should be with tolerance, it should be with knowing the emotional status, emotional well-being of the other party. Thank you.
So at workplaces now, we've seen cases of victimization, harassment, and some people will say no, it's just your colleague, he's just playing with you. You know, some people even touch, you know, in a certain part of the. So in that case, is the right of that, you know, particular woman be infringed on?
Nobody has the right to touch anybody anyhow. Nobody. So yes, the right of that person is infringed upon. You don't touch.
Even verbal abuse too.
Yes, verbal abuse, saying things that are derogatory to the personality of somebody. For instance, someone may wrongly say, oh, she's a woman, do you expect a better reasoning from her? These are very bad, very wicked statements. So women should be celebrated. So women are very important. So now touching a woman anyhow is wrong. The woman can legally report a case of assault against that person, which is a criminal thing now, which is a criminal issue now. And whoever is found wanting in a situation like that can even be jailed. Yes, it's not a joke. Then apart from that, such a person can even be fired from the place of work. There can be investigation. So it's not a joke. You don't touch a woman anyhow. You don't touch any other person anyhow too anyway. But since we are talking about women now specifically, so you cannot just touch a woman, push her, beat her, assault her, even wound her, all sorts of things like that. So women should be respected. If someone has not been respecting women before, at least this is an avenue for the person to learn, for the person to know that it's a very serious legal issue. Whoever is caught can be dealt with. So the women too should report, not that they should be pushing them anyhow and you see them joking about it as look at this person, look at how Mr. So is touching me. So no, report. By the time 2 or 3 people are dealt with based on these things, it will be a deterrent to others.
Okay, so talking about issues of women that go, you know, on maternity leave now, they come back. Some of the organizations, they don't actually know or have places they can keep their, you know, kids or infants or children. Maybe they have to bring the you know, children around, and some bosses frown at this. If you take a look at it, is there an infringement, you know, on the rights of such a woman?
No, that is not an infringement. Okay. You see, before somebody is employed somewhere, there will be terms and conditions of employment. You, at least before the person comes into any organization, every organization has its own rules and regulations. It's not okay. For instance, where we are now, imagine babies disturbing this program. It will not work. So the babies can be taken to crèche, to nannies. So that's where the responsibility of the husband comes in, of the husband too will come in, to be able to pay for the crèche, pay the nannies, pay those who will take care of the babies. A woman can also be working in a very sensitive organization. For instance, where a woman is a police officer or serving in the armed force or serving in the Nigerian army, and now the person is posted to a sensitive place for sensitive job. So you know, this is something that bothers. So this is something that borders on the security of the entire country, and a woman too can serve in the Nigerian armed forces. So now, in a situation like that, the man too should assist the woman. Now, there is no rule, there is no law that says that should be the burden on the women alone.
Okay, so if you know, maybe a court officer in a particular organization tells the woman to take the child away, he has not infringed on the rights of them.
No. But it depends on manner of presentation. Okay. Not that the boss should just take the child and fling the child and throw the child away. No.
Okay, so let's take a look at the importance of women's rights now. How important is it to our culture, to our nation, to our states, especially?
The rights of women are very important. They are very significant, very vital, because we need it. We need these rights. We need to follow them. We need to obey them, strictly speaking, for a better society, to bring sanity in our society. and those who deprive them of any benefits, of any rights too, by the time they are dealt with according to law, these things will be deterrent to others. So the beauty is that without women there cannot be a perfect society, there cannot be a good society. In fact, there won't be any society at all. The society will degenerate to a state of nature where, according to Thomas Hobbes, life will be solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. So women should be celebrated, women should be empowered, women should be encouraged to do more, to participate more, to even in the political settings and even leadership positions too. Women are needed. So it is not for men alone. I'm not saying men should be relegated. I'm not saying men should not be recognized too. Even in the Bible, male and female, he created them. So God created male, God created female. So everyone should be celebrated. So the importance of the rights of women will bring peace into the society. It will bring serenity into the society. It will bring development into the society, and it will bring a better world for you, for every one of us, and for the sake of the coming generation.
So taking a look at the rights of women and gender-related issues, when we listen to, maybe the news, see on social media, even on daily basis, and there are issues we've had to contend. We've seen cases where, men, we have to force their women, to do some certain things. There are some men that won't go as far as maybe forcing the woman to accept bringing another woman in, despite the fact that they are lawfully married. Then we've seen cases on daily basis that they will say a particular woman has agreed that for their own child, for the father to be having carnal, and you have that woman there, and at the end of the day, after investigation of his own daughter.
Okay, that is bad.
And we've seen cases where it's the mother that will even encourage such things, and by the time they interview them, the woman will say, if I don't do it, my husband will send me out. In such cases, is it an infringement? I feel that is the highest level of infringement that can happen to any woman. What can such women that are going through such can do?
In fact, that is worse than an infringement. That is wickedness. That is barbaric. That is satanic. That is evil. How will a father be having carnal knowledge of his daughter? That is wickedness of the highest order. And they are now saying that the woman should support it. That is wickedness of the highest order. So the best thing, part of the things the woman can do is to report. Report to law enforcement agencies. Report to the police.
Like
law enforcement, like the police, Nigerian Police Force, Nigerian Security and Civil Defence Corps. Report to law enforcement agencies. Report to the government. The Minister of Justice is there. Minister of Women Affairs, they are there. Report. Just report. Report to the elders of the community. If they are not cooperating, just make sure you report. Lodge a complaint.
Some don't want to come out for fear of what the society will say, that you have reported your husband and now your husband is going to to go to prison.
The husband should go to jail. There is nothing sentimental about it now. The husband should go to jail. There is no sentiment about it.
Then we have seen cases where the women too will come out to report such husband. At the end, the women too will go back to say, no, it's my husband, I don't want him to go to jail. Such cases, can't the government take up such cases?
Government is taking up those cases. There are some people involving in all these very wicked acts, and they are where they should be now. They are in jail. So we should commend the government for that too. There are very serious prosecutions going on, and there are very serious convictions secured against people doing all these very wicked acts. So we should commend the government on that now. We should commend the government on that. So if those things have been tolerated in past centuries, I'm sure it's gradually becoming a turn of the past. The assignment for the woman, not only the woman now, or anybody who is aware of this, just make sure you report. Just make sure you report. The law enforcement agencies know how to go about the thorough investigation. Once there is a link, once there is a journey, they know what to do. Just make sure you report. Don't be quiet about it. Report. Tell those who can report. Make sure it is not hidden. Make sure it is not covered. Make sure you don't protect someone doing such wicked acts Like I said, this one is worse beyond infringement. Now, this is barbaric, this is wicked, and even apart from the fact that the law will punish the person, even God will punish the person doing such evil acts, because that is not adding value to the society, that is not adding value to humanity, that is corrupting the society.
Thank you very much, Barrister. Taking a look at the women that don't really have, direct access, to maybe people at the rural areas now. Where can they? Is there anything put in place to actually maybe first hand, like an emergency thing, that if anything happens to them, they can easily run to? For those that do putting into consideration the Ekiti State now.
Thank you. These communities have leaders, they have chiefs, they have kings, they have baales. Reports to them. And now, hardly is there anyone that doesn't have phone. Even if it's phone, even if it's SMS, you can send it to the press, you can send it to any nearest police station. They go to their farms, they go to their places of work, they go to the market. After all, if a crime is committed in the market, they will be arrested. So they know how to get in touch with law enforcement agencies, and there are police outstations too in all these departments. They go to the state capital, Ado Ekiti. They, even apart from Ado Ekiti now, all these places too, local government areas, go to the local government area, go to the local council development areas, tell government officials there, tell leaders there, just make sure the matter is reported. It should not be covered. Don't say, after all, the person is your husband. No, that is not your husband, that's an animal. Anyone having carnal knowledge of his daughter is an animal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So as we round up on the program today, on the program You and the Law, I want you to advise our women some basic things that they've had to contend with on daily basis, like what we see, and that ordinarily they should speak up about for our women now.
Thank you very much. Our women, they are the salt of the world. We cannot do without them. We have them as mothers, we have them as wives, we have them as daughters. So nobody, for any reason whatsoever, nobody has any reason to abuse them or treat them with disdain. They are very, very important. As a woman, speak up. If there is any infringement on your fundamental rights, if you are not pleased with any gesture, don't say, oh, this person is the man, the head of the family. Agreed. I'm not saying he's not the head of the family. But real freedom is freedom within the law and not freedom outside the law. Report to law enforcement agencies and let the officials there do their job.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Barrister Oluwafemi Alonge, for coming on today's program. Sure, next week we shall have you again on the program, doing justice to another topic. Thank you very once again for coming.
May God spare our lives beyond them. Thank
Amen.
you.
This is how we can go on today's episode of the program, You and the Law. I'm sure our women out there, you've listened to one or two things discussed today. Please, if you are going through anything, please always pick up and go to the right places to lodge your complaints. My name is Olajumoke Damola. Wishing you all well. Hope to see you next week. It's bye for now. Thank you once again for coming.
Thank you very much.